So Anurag Kashyap, the guy behind Gangs of Wasseypur, he's ditching Bollywood, saying the Hindi film industry's gone, like toxic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he thinks it's way too obsessed with box office numbers, and that's killing all the creativity.
Right.
We're diving into two articles today that look at his move and what it says about where Indian cinema might be going. Whether you're like a total film buff or just, curious about what's happening over in India, I think you'll find this deep dive super interesting. And if you got other opinions, hit us up in the comments.
I mean, it's a pretty big move, right? Especially for someone like Kashyap. Like, he's a big deal.
Yeah, and he's actually, doing something about it, not just complaining.
Yeah, taking action.
He's confirmed he's going probably to Bangalore, and he's been really open about, his criticisms, talking about how Bollywood is just pushing for these mega blockbusters, these huge, unrealistic targets, like making 500, 800 crore films.
Right.
And he's saying that's, like, ruining the whole vibe for creative filmmaking.
Yeah, I see what he's saying. When it's all about the money, something's got to give, right?
Right. Some of those big Bollywood movies, they feel more like, I don't know, just spectacle, not really about the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Kashyap's fighting against. He wants a space where he can try new things, take risks, make films that come from passion, not just from wanting to rake in the cash.
He said he finds the South Indian film industry more stimulating, more open to trying things.
Yeah, and it's not just talk, right? He's already been working with South Indian filmmakers, presenting that Malayalam film footage. So it feels kind of like a natural next step for him.
It does.
But it's interesting, the word he used, toxic, it really sounds like he's just over it, like really disillusioned with the whole thing.
Yeah, makes you wonder how many others feel the same way. Actually, the second article we're looking at, it argues that the whole term Bollywood is part of the problem.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah, they're saying the industry needs, like, a whole identity makeover.
Bold statement. They're basically saying Bollywood is just, like, a cheap copy of Hollywood. Like, it's reducing this whole huge industry, tons of history, to some wannabe thing.
They really go into the history of unoriginality in Bollywood, all these films that were inspired by, we'll say, Hollywood films.
Yeah, we've all seen those.
Like Bazigar, pretty much lifted from A Kiss Before Dying. Gajini, a remake of Memento. And then there's all the plagiarism in Bollywood music.
It's everywhere.
So you've got this focus on big budget, but not really original films. And then you've got, like, regional cinema just exploding with creativity.
Yeah, it's wild. South Indian films, KGF, RRR, Pushpa, these are global hits now, telling original stories that are rooted in their culture. It's not just box office numbers, it's like a whole cultural moment.
Yeah.
And hey, if you're digging this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your film buff friends. We want to hear their other opinions too.
It really shows that people want fresh stories, new narrative.
Absolutely. And speaking of new things, there's the whole Noida Film City thing happening in Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
Film productions moving out of Mumbai, challenging his hold on the industry.
It's a big deal. If you think about Kashyap moving too, it seems like he's looking to be a part of this, like, new wave of Indian cinema, not just running from Bollywood.
Right, more like looking for a place where he can really thrive.
Exactly. Noida Film City is a huge investment by the Uttar Pradesh government. It could really change things up.
You really could. When you think about all the trouble Kashyap's had with censorship, distribution problems, films getting shelved.
Yeah.
Even Gangs of Wasseypur, which was, critically acclaimed, almost didn't make it out because people just didn't get it.
Yeah, his style of storytelling is definitely different.
He's been pushing boundaries for years. And it feels like, I don't know, like the system's been pushing back.
Right, so him wanting to find a new space, it makes sense. But it makes you think, what happens to Bollywood if more and more filmmakers do the same thing? That's where this idea of, like, switching from Bollywood to Indian film industry, IFI, comes in.
Right, IFI. Not just a new name, but a whole new way of thinking about things. Recognizing, that there's more to Indian cinema than just Hindi films. It's this whole diverse, rich world. And this article actually talks about how to make that IFI vision a reality. We'll get into that, but first, what are you thinking so far? Team Bollywood or Team IFI? Let us know in the comments below. We love hearing those other opinions. And make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss part 2 of this conversation.
So yeah, we were talking about how Anurag Kashyap moving kind of fits into this bigger picture about what's going on with Indian cinema, right?
Totally. And this whole IFI idea, the Indian film industry, it's a pretty big change, But how do we actually get there? The article, it lays out some real steps.
Well, the first thing they say is original storytelling, making that a priority.
It's true, though. Bollywood's got this, I don't know, this reputation for taking a bit too much inspiration from other places.
Yeah, a little too much sometimes.
The article's saying producers need to be bolder, you know, take more risks on new scripts, fresh stories, support independent voices like Vikramaditya Moane, Niraj Gaiwan, Reema Das.
Those are good examples.
They've shown you can have success, commercially, but still be super creative. Films like Udan, Masan, Village Rock Stars, people connect with those because they feel real, original.
It's about offering something new, right? Something that reflects all the different sides of Indian culture, especially if you want to make it big globally.
And speaking of diversity, the second step is about recognizing how good regional cinema is. We've talked about it, but it's worth saying again, South Indian cinema, they're doing some amazing things, reaching audiences worldwide, not just in India.
Right, and the article's saying don't try to force these films into that Bollywood box, Work with them, celebrate what makes them unique.
Yeah, because in the end, when any part of Indian cinema wins, the whole industry wins, right? Okay, so step 3 is about infrastructure, strengthening the industry beyond just Mumbai.
Yeah, like why should Mumbai have all the fun? The article talks about Noida Film City as a big move in the right direction.
There's talent everywhere in India. Makes sense to put money into film cities and production facilities in other places, too.
It gives those filmmakers more power, more resources to do their thing. And think about it. More film cities, that's more jobs, more chances for new filmmakers, more diverse stories being told.
The Uttar Pradesh government, they're making a big bet here. Hey, if you're finding this deep dive interesting, hit that subscribe button and tell your friends about it. The more other opinions we have in the comments, the better the conversation is, right?
Totally. Okay, so step number 4, the last one the article talks about, is making a unique identity for Indian cinema as a whole, a global one.
This is where it gets really interesting. It's about not comparing everything to Hollywood, not feeling like the little brother trying to copy. It's about stepping into your own spotlight.
Right, like what if Indian cinema was totally confident in its own style, its own voice? The article even mentions Korean cinema as an example, K-dramas, K-movies. They've become super popular all over the world, not by trying to be Hollywood, but by being themselves, holding on to their culture and how they tell stories.
It's a powerful message, right? Be yourself, be proud of your story, your culture, and people will notice. Indian cinema, with all its talent and diversity, it could really become a global force.
It could, but it takes effort, a real willingness to break away from the old ways and go for something new.
And maybe Anurag Kashyap's move is a sign that's already starting to happen.
Yeah.
What do you think? Excited about the future of Indian cinema? Let us know in the comments. What are your thoughts?
Don't forget to like this video too and subscribe to The Other Opinion for more deep dives into cool topics like this. Share it with your friends who'd be interested in this conversation.
Okay, so we've talked about how to build this thriving Indian film industry, but the question is, will it actually happen?
Right. Will Bollywood let go a little? Will regional cinema keep growing? And will Kashyap find what he's looking for in South India? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It's going to be fascinating to watch, that's for sure. What do you guys think? Optimistic? Team Bollywood or Team IFI? Let's have a good, healthy debate down in the comments. Remember, all opinions are welcome here at The Other Opinion.
Absolutely. That's what we're all about. Getting people talking, questioning things, exploring different perspectives.
Yeah, sometimes those different perspectives, they even make us question our own views. And that's a good thing, right? It's how we learn and grow together. Keep those comments coming, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of these thought-provoking deep dives. Now, before we wrap up, it's important to remember, change doesn't happen overnight.
Right. Bollywood's been around forever. It's part of Indian culture. It's not going to just vanish because one director decides to move or a few articles say it needs a new name.
True. But we are seeing some cracks, some signs that things are changing. And even small changes can have a big impact.
Yeah, like a ripple effect. Maybe Kashyap moving will inspire other filmmakers to try new things, find new spaces to be creative, challenge the way things are.
Or maybe it'll just be a little blip in history. Who knows?
But we've definitely started the conversation now. And the more we talk about these things, the more we question things, the more likely we are to see some real change happen.
And that's what The Other Opinion's all about. We want to hear from you. What are you hoping for? What are you worried about when it comes to the future of Indian cinema? What kind of stories do you want to see? Hit us up in the comments.
There are no right or wrong answers here. We're all just trying to figure things out, right? Yeah. In this crazy world.
And sometimes the best way to do that is to have a good debate, challenge each other respectfully and learn from each other's points of view.
So let's keep talking. Like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to The Other Opinion for more deep dives, and share it with your friends. Let's get everyone thinking.
And one last thing before we go, this deep dive, it was brought to you by AI, using information that's publicly available.
And we try our best to be accurate, but, there's always a chance we might have missed something.
AI makes mistakes too.
So do your own research, come to your own conclusions, and don't be afraid to question what you see and hear.
That's what critical thinking's all about.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do here at The Other Opinion. We're not telling you what to think, we're encouraging you to think for yourselves. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll see you in the next one.
It's interesting to think about, what would a successful IFI actually look like? What would it mean for the industry, the kinds of stories being told, how people around the world see Indian cinema?
It's a big question. I think, for me, a big part of it would be more focus on the different regions, and having them work together. So, like, moving away from just Hindi films and letting all different parts of India tell their stories.
Exactly. We've already seen how those regional films have, captured people's attention globally. Imagine if there was a real effort to support those films, promote them from everywhere in India, not just one place.
That would be amazing. A
Yeah.
truly, pan-Indian film industry where you've got stories in different languages, cultures, all celebrated, all having a chance to be seen. And that kind of ties into breaking free from always copying Hollywood, right?
Absolutely. It's about finding your own identity, one that comes from India's culture, its history of storytelling, all the different artistic voices they have now,
Yeah.
creating a way of making films that is uniquely Indian.
And that could mean, going beyond the usual genres, trying new ways of telling stories?
Yeah, exactly. It could mean more experimental films, unusual stories, pushing the boundaries of what Indian cinema can do.
We talked about the challenges Bollywood's facing, but what about the good stuff that could come from IFI, the opportunities?
Well, one thing is, it could reach a way bigger audience worldwide.
Like we've seen with RRR and KGF, those were huge.
Right, and think if that was, amplified, if there was a real push to get Indian films seen internationally.
It's about creating a brand,
Yeah.
an identity that the whole world can connect with, showing off all the incredible talent and stories India has.
And changing how people see Indian cinema, not just a local thing, but a major player globally.
Okay, but all of this sounds great, but there's going to be bumps along the way, right? What do you think are some of the biggest challenges to making this IFI thing happen?
I think one of the toughest things is going to be changing how the industry works now, the power structures.
You mean like the people who benefit from things staying the same?
Yeah, there's going to be resistance, people who don't want things to change. It's going to take filmmakers, producers, distributors, and audiences all pushing for it together to make it happen.
And it's going to take people being willing to take risks, invest in new people, be more inclusive, and work together more.
Right. Absolutely. It's about making a space where creativity can actually thrive and where everyone's perspective is valued.
This whole conversation has been so interesting. Indian cinema is really at a crossroads, huh?
It is. The choices they make now, they're going to affect the industry for years to come.
What do you all think? What are you hoping for when it comes to the future of Indian cinema? Do you think this IFI thing can actually work? Let us know down in the comments, share your other opinions, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more deep dives like this, and share it with your friends who might find this interesting. The more perspectives we get, the better we understand all of this.
And remember, this whole deep dive, it was brought to you by AI using info that's out there publicly.
We do our best to get it right, but hey, we could have missed something. Even AI messes up sometimes, right?
Exactly. So always do your own research, make up your own mind, and don't be afraid to question what you see and hear.
That's what critical thinking is, and that's what we're all about here at The Other Opinion. We're not here to tell you what to think. We want you to think for yourselves. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll catch you in the next one.